Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. It is episode
718.
18. We're still learning how to count numbers today. 18 of the Dropkicks and Attractions podcast. I'm, of course, your self-proclaimed, self-crowned, self-to-everything Prince of Pop Culture, Xander Invictus, joined by my court jester, I speak English, and close personal friend, Big Bach. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great today. Are you doing okay too?
I'm okay. I'm alive. So, once again, thank you everybody for being patient with our short hiatus that we came back from last week. You know, we're still trying to reformat everything to give you the wrestling and the pop culture. So we're changing up everything a little bit. You're still getting everything we got last week, but we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to start with the stuff that, we're watching now, things we're, looking forward to. We'll get into the wrestling, and then we're going to do the top movies and songs that were hot that week in 93 and then weeks and years on.
Looking forward to our new format.
Absolutely. So, as we've mentioned before, I am a massive horror movie fan. Horror media in general. And one thing that we agreed on is that I would try to get you slowly into horror movies.
So far, you're doing a good job of it.
And I would agree to watch some anime.
Yes.
Because you're a massive weeb.
Oh, yes. Very massive weeb.
So, to do that, and what we're going to also do is that we're going to go to the movies weekly. Thank you, Cinemark app.
Yay.
And we're not always going to watch horror movies or anime movies. We're going to alternate picking movies, and then we're just going to say what we thought.
Just give our thoughts.
Yeah. So not only are we doing the movie, we're going to do box further delve into the madness of horror. We both went to go see, and this was a movie I was excited to see from the start.
Mm-hmm.
And you went in completely blind.
Completely blind, just the way I like it.
Yes, we saw The Black Phone that was starring Ethan Hawke as the bad guy, which is not something he's known for. This is a change of pace for him. And it was kind of funny that he said, yeah, this is not roles I usually play, but, I'm turning 50, I need to do something.
Right.
Yeah, and the thing is, he played the villain in this, and then he also was the villain in the Moon Knight Disney Plus show, which I need to see yet. So he can play a villain. So, neither one of us has seen it. But he's an amazing as a villain.
Yeah, he did a great job in that movie.
Yeah, so I would like to see him do more villain stuff, because he's done stuff with Scott Derrickson, the director of this movie. He also directed Sinister, also starring Ethan Hawke. And for UMCU fans, he directed the first Doctor Strange.
Ooh.
Yeah, which was a great movie. I haven't had, I love both Doctor Strange movies are good, which funny. Him doing horror movies and just, he did direct Doctor Strange. The second Doctor Strange, the one that came out this year, was directed by Sam Raimi, who is known for doing the Evil Dead movies.
Oh, really? I didn't know he did those.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he directed the Evil Dead movies. And I kind of find it appropriate that he did. You got the horror movie directors that doing Doctor Strange, given the Doctor Strange subject matter and material. That honestly kind of fits to me.
Didn't Sam Raimi also do some of Sony's Spider-Man movies?
He did all three Sony Spider-Man movies.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he also did my favorite superhero movie not based on a previous project. He did the first Darkman.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which is a great movie.
Yeah, I've heard good things, but never seen it.
The first one's great. We'll put it that way. There's three of them. The first one's really good. Enough said.
Okay.
So basically what it is, we're not going to go into spoilers. This is not a detailed synopsis. We're just going to give, a quick plot line and our general thoughts on it. Mm-hmm. So basically, The Black Phone, which was written based on a short story by Joe Hill, who is the son of Stephen King, and I looked him up. He looks just like Stephen King, so you can't hide it.
Gotcha.
So yeah, you can see that, the Stephen King nods in this. Like, that was one of my first favorite authors. I've been reading him since I was 10.
I've read scattered books of his here and there, but I've never really gotten into it except for The Dark Tower.
It, Carrie, Misery, Cujo, Christine, Needful Things, Dolores. Most of his, early couple decades I've read.
Yeah, I did a couple of the novellas in different seasons for various college projects.
Yeah, like Shawshank Redemption was his, Apt Pupil was his. He also did stuff under Richard Bachman, was a nom de plume of his that was also Thinner and a bunch of other books. So so you can tell that there's nods to Stephen King in it. You can tell that he's got his... This is not something that Stephen King did, but you can tell there's It's in the bloodline.
Right.
So basically what it is Ethan Hawke plays this guy called the Grabber. He's a child kidnapper, child killer. And the main character is his latest victim. And the kid wakes up in a basement with a mattress, a toilet, and a phone that is disconnected. Like the wires are ripped out of the wall, and then it starts to ring. And it is basically all the answers is all the kids that have died prior. And so he's basically got to learn from these kids to escape from this house.
Yeah, it was a really good movie. I had a great time.
Yeah, not only was it a good horror movie, it's a good movie in general. It's the second horror movie I've seen in the theaters this year. Both of them were great. And that's the thing. With horror movies, as a horror fan, we don't get a lot of big horror movies in theaters. So I try to go watch as many as I can because that's, if we get people watching horror movies, we get more of them in the theaters.
Right.
Like I said, the other big one I saw this year was Scream 5, which was also fantastic. I like this better. Nothing against Scream 5, but I like this better.
Right.
Yeah, it was shot well, acted well. Nobody was a bumbling idiot. Like, it was realistic given the subject matter. Like, even the cop, usually in movies like this, the cops are stupid or bumbling idiots. They were quite...
competently portrayed.
Competent was the word I'm looking for. Thank you. Like, everybody was competent. Everybody was, like, dimensions and layers. It was fantastic.
It was also nice to see that the father in the movie was not just a one-dimensional alcoholic villain, because you see that a lot in Stephen King stuff.
Oh, yeah, just in general. But overall, fantastic movie. I can't, it even got me. I wanted to go see a movie that I wanted a jump scare. Like, I don't get jump scared a lot, because usually somebody like me who's seen them a long time can see them coming. I got hit with one, and it surprised the hell out of me.
I was getting hit throughout the whole movie, but again, I'm not into horror like you are.
Yeah. There was one moment that I legitimately jumped, and it was well done. But yeah, like, all the reveals they do in the movie were great. The foreshadowing was damn near impeccable, because you're like, usually you can pick up, but a lot of movies you can pick up the foreshadowing right away. I didn't. And when the foreshadowing kicks in, you're like, oh, they're throwing back to that. Wow.
Right.
Yeah, 100% recommend this movie. Thriller fans, horror fans, you want a good scare, you want a good story, highly recommended.
Yeah, I'd rate this as an A-.
100%. So, and then for the anime part, like I said, I've dabbled in anime. It is a very large creature, a very large mountain to climb.
Yeah, it can be kind of intimidating figuring out where to start.
So I decided just to start with a short one, but what I'm going to do is do the more mainstream animes, the more well-known ones, and then just branch off from there.
And I'll offer suggestions if you would like.
Sure, we'll come to that bridge if we get there.
Okay.
I decided to go for one of the big ones. I started Cowboy Bebop the other day.
Are you watching it subbed or dubbed?
Here's the thing. I prefer, when it comes to foreign anime, movies, whatever, I prefer dubbed over subbed, but I'm watching it dubbed with subtitles that way because I'm usually doing something else while I'm watching these, so I want to be able to follow along while I'm doing my other stuff.
Yeah, I saw the dub on Cartoon Network's Adult Swim block a long time ago, so I have nostalgia for that. I would watch that dubbed again, but I generally prefer original language.
Same here. But that way, when I'm doing other stuff, I can still, because obviously I don't speak Japanese.
Right.
But I've watched the first 4 episodes, which is basically just, we're just introducing all the main characters for the show. It's 26 episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm about a quarter of the way through, or not, well, a little under a quarter of the way through, about a third, quarter, I don't number. Anyways, yeah, like, from what I've seen so far, like me, I'm big into, like, heist movies and just kind of, like, anything heisty. So the casino episode was a fun one for me to watch. But overall, I'm liking it so far. Like I said, I'm going to watch, bit by bit. We'll carry on my progress on here so everybody can see, where we're going. I have a few ideas ones I do want to watch. And then, we'll cover that every week, our progress on horror movies and anime.
Yeah.
But as in for the stuff that I'm watching now, I decided to watch King of Queens again. It's on Peacock. I always like that show. The Boys had the infamous Hero-gasm episode this past week. And, oh my God, I can't tell you what I saw on there because,
you want to keep the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. But trust me, this is not a superhero movie for the kids, or TV show for the kids. The show's absolutely fantastic. We're about almost done with season 3. I think that was episode 6. And I think there's 8 episodes a season. So we're almost done with season 3. It's so good. I'm also watching, The Wire. the HBO show from back in the 90s. I recommended that from, I listened to a podcast called Revenge of the Sith, and one of the hosts is always talking about The Wire, so I decided, hey, I'll watch it. So far, so good. Like I said, King of Queens. And then I'm excited for this because, and it's kind of funny because it deals with podcasts as well. This coming Tuesday, the 28th, we're recording this on June 26th. Season 2 of Only Murders in the Buildings comes out, and I'm super excited because that show's fantastic.
You've told me all about it, and it did pique my interest.
Yes, for those that don't know, it has Steve Martin, Martin Short, Selena Gomez are the main characters, and they all listen to the same true crime podcast. So it kind of makes fun of the whole true crime podcast and podcasts in general, but in a satirical way that's funny. And a murder happens in their building, and they figure, oh, hey, we listen to a true crime podcast, we should investigate this. And then while they're investigating this murder, they decide to start their own podcast, keeping everybody abreast of the investigation, and it actually becomes a hit. So it's funny, but there's dramatic parts. It seems like every episode ended on a cliffhanger or a big twist. The season ended on a twist, and this is just picking up from there. That comes out this week, so I'm super excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Big Boxer, what do you what's on your radar? What are you watching right now?
I am actually going back through Monty Python's Flying Circus again on Netflix.
Oh, like I've seen like the certain skits of that. You know, the Olympics, the
Dead Parrot skit is probably the most famous one.
The Dead Parrot one, Minister Silly Walks, and excuse me. And then what was the Olympics one?
I don't remember that one. I don't think I'm there yet. I'm only in series 1 right now.
I've seen the movies. Like I said, I've seen the skits pop up, but I've never sat down and watched the show.
I went through it a few years ago, and I had a blast, so I decided I wanted to revisit it.
Oh, I love the movies.
Yeah, their movies are amazing.
Monty Python and Holy Grail, Life of Brian.
Mm-hmm.
They're fantastic. So eventually, that's been on my radar for years. Eventually, I'll get to it.
Yeah, back in the anime realm, I also just went through Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid again, which is just a cute little slice of life show.
Yeah. So what kind of animes do you normally watch right now?
Honestly, lately I've been gravitating toward just calm stuff. Slice of life, just characters do their thing. I've never been one for action.
Yeah, so you're not a, like, Dragon Ball or Cowboy Bebop or... You like them, but that's not really your bag.
Exactly.
Okay. Is that all you're watching right now?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, is there any movies or TV shows you're looking forward to coming out soon?
I don't really follow a lot of modern TV. Like, I don't even know what anime is going to be simulcast this next season. I do need to look into that, actually.
Okay. I am excited because in about 2 weeks, Thor: Love and Thunder comes out, so we're definitely going to go see that.
Uh-huh.
There's a new Idris Elba movie that we saw the trailer for last week, and I'll watch anything with Idris Elba in it, and it looks great.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Oh, he's great. Who was also in The Wire, by the way.
Oh, he was? I didn't know that.
He was in The Wire, and then he was also had a small role in my all-time favorite TV show.
Which I believe you said is Law & Order Special Victims Unit?
No, but I have seen almost every episode but the main season, the most recent season. Other than that, I've seen the other 400-some-odd episodes.
Gotcha. So what is your favorite?
The Office, the U.S. version of The Office, and he was Charles Miner.
Oh, right. You have said that before. I feel silly now for forgetting.
You should. But yeah, so this is what we're going to do every week. We're going to go open up with, stuff we're watching, maybe a quick movie review. We're going to keep abreast on box dive into horror. And maybe we'll give, if anybody's got recommendations, okay, for people that want to recommend you horror, because you've also recently discovered Tubi, which I love Tubi. You've discovered Tubi, so good luck on that. Because if you want to watch horror movies, Tubi's got stuff from like the Hammer movies from the early 60s up into the stuff that came out like last week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I watched a Hammer movie called The Gorgon, which was fantastic.
Cool.
On there. I think they even have the original Nosferatu on there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so for those because both of us are very open to recommendations.
Absolutely.
For those that would like to recommend horror to you, what kind of horror movies do you like? Because there's many genres of horror.
Yeah, I'm more into the atmospheric cerebral kinds. Like Black Phone was one of those. Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon was another one. You suggested that one.
You're welcome, by the way. It's one of my personal favorites.
Mm-hmm. And not so much the blood and gore.
Okay. So, anime for me, like, once again, I'm focusing on the mainstream stuff right now. Because I can't recommend But like I like, like your space operas, action. I'm sure I'll eventually get into stuff like Dragon Ball, and I do want to try to tackle One Piece. But like I don't get into the sappy stuff and super duper science fiction. Like pure science fiction is really not my thing. I dabble, but action, high fantasy, adventures, that sort of thing is my bag. I wouldn't mind a good comedy one either, like a funny one.
And if I remember right, it was actually the same place where we both got turned on to One Piece.
It was the same moment. So, okay, so yeah, get a hold of us either through this Twitter or any of our social medias if you guys got recommendations for horror and anime. We're gonna keep everybody up to date on what we're doing. This is your week to pick the movie. Obviously we'll pick it as we get closer to the next weekend because we won't find out until the next weekend. It's gonna be your week to pick horror movie, or not a horror movie, excuse me, just a movie.
A movie to go see, yes.
Yeah, it may be the new release, maybe something that's been out a couple weeks, but yeah, we're going to alternate picking a movie every week using our Cinemark app that you need to get.
Yes, I haven't done that yet. I will do that after we're done here.
Yes, it's anyways, so now we're going to get into part 2 of the show where we talk about wrestling. We're on the week of March 8th, 1993. Monday Night Raw, WCW Saturday Night. We're still in the Hammerstein Ballroom. We're about a month out from WrestleMania 9. So we're going to get a lot of stuff going towards that. We're going to open the show. There's actually no show opening this week. There's no intro to the show this week.
Right. We go straight to the Megamaniacs cutting a promo on Money Incorporated.
Yeah, and this is the thing that I call. Maybe I misheard last week, but because we have confirmed that the Megamaniacs and Money Inc. will be fighting for the tag team titles at WrestleMania. And here's the thing. This is the part that confused me, and I could be wrong, so, if I'm wrong, please correct me. Didn't Hulk Hogan lay down the challenge to DiBiase, and DiBiase accepted the challenge?
I actually don't remember how it went down.
I believe so, but right here it's saying Hulk Hogan's accepting the challenge. So if I'm correct, Hulk Hogan is accepting the challenge that he laid down that DiBiase accepted last week.
Right, yeah, that's kind of nonsensical.
Yeah, I caught that. But basically, they're just confirming that the tag titles, they're going for the tag titles. Nothing mind-blowing out of this. And then I also noticed that Hulk Hogan likes The King and I, the musical.
Really?
Because the reason I say that is that he's like, hey, brother, I got a new song while working at Getting to Know You, Getting to Know All About You. Like, he starts singing that. That's the song from the Rodgers and Hammerstein King and I musical.
I didn't realize that.
My parents watched a lot of musicals, and I've watched a lot of musicals growing up. So I have seen the Rodgers and Hammerstein King and I with Yul Brynner.
Gotcha.
That's one of the big songs out of it. It's a classic song, and it's also one of the big songs in the movie. So it's like, oh, Hulk Hogan likes musicals? We're close to Broadway? Hey, you do you, boo-boo.
Uh-huh.
Which has always been a goal of mine. I've always wanted to see a musical live like that. And then they do their nod to SNL. Live from New York, it's Saturday night, but they do Live from New York, it's Monday night,
Right.
And then we go to the crowd. Vince is there with Savage and Bartlett. There's still nods to Elvis last week.
Yeah.
And I actually agree with, this is the first and probably only time I'm going to say this, I agree with Rob Bartlett on something.
Oh, really?
Because he says the match he's looking forward to is our main event of the evening, Mr. Perfect versus the model Rick Martel.
Ah.
And I was like, son of a bitch, a broken clock's right twice a day.
Right.
We're going to go to our first match. It's a tag team match with Virgil and the El Matador, Tito Santana versus Money Inc. This is a non-title match.
Yeah, we'll start off quick with Ted and Tito.
Yeah, and then this is the thing where it's like, well, you know how you can get 2 or 3 guys in a tag match to carry the fourth?
Right.
We talked about that with the whole Eric Watts situation, WCW.
Right,
We got the same right here. Virgil, he's basically become a meme at this point, in wrestling.
Uh-huh.
This was the odd man out of the 4. For those that don't know, he started out in WWF as he was his Ted DiBiase's manservant.
I did not realize that.
That's what he was. He was basically a manservant. And, he broke free of Ted DiBiase, and this is his thing. And he just never... He was better than Eric Watts, for sure. But he wasn't like, this is one of those kind of things. Tito, obviously, we got 2 Hall of Famers and 1 hopefully sometime soon, Hall of Famer and Mike Rotunda or Erwin R. Shyster.
Right.
DiBiase, like you said, DiBiase and Tito Santana start.
So yeah, they're just throwing hands for a while.
And then they trade early advantage, and then there was a nice elbow from Santana that caught DiBiase flush right in the face. So Virgil gets in for a little bit. Like I said, they're going to throw back to the history because he's in there with DiBiase, who makes a quick tag to IRS. IRS powders out, but Santana punches him, throws him back in. The faces get a double team move, and they get a 2 count.
Virgil goes to IRS's left arm at this point.
And then basically the faces are in control for at least the first half, 3/4 of the match. A lot of quick tags.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, DiBiase finally tags in. He keeps Santana from getting that tag. There's a double down when they collide heads. Virgil's in control with IRS, and he goes to bounce off the ropes, but DiBiase trips him up. IRS lands a back suplex, and Money Inc. wins this match.
Yeah, that was 7 minutes and 36 seconds, but it felt pretty quick.
Yeah, it was okay. It was a good starter.
Yeah, just average match.
Yeah, we're just putting Money Inc. on there because, like, we're promoting the tag match for WrestleMania in about a month, so we're gonna have our guys out there to get a win so we can keep the momentum going.
Yeah, keep them in the public eye.
And then we're like we said, we're gonna have an intercontinental title match at WrestleMania with Shawn Michaels defending against Tatanka. And so we're showing prior footage of Tatanka, who has 2 pinfall victories over Shawn Michaels. And then while we're doing this, Rick Martel comes out with his great Mr. Howell cap. Like, they keep calling him Mr. Howell throughout the show from Gilligan's Island. Mm-hmm. He's going to come out to the ring because, he's the model. And he's basically taking the ring card from the ringside girl, and he's like, I'm going to show you how to do this. And they go to commercial. He just comes out, does the thing, because I'm a model, I'm prettier than you. You can go now. We go to commercial. And then, speaking of Tatanka, we get a match with Tatanka and Phil Apollo, which, like I said, I'm excited about. I was a fan of Tatanka as a kid during his first run.
Right.
So we're basically just a little bit of counter wrestling before Tatanka hip tosses Phil over the top rope to the outside. Shawn Michaels calls in. He's basically promoting the match. He's like, hey, he's gotten lucky at the table before, but he's going to hit Snake Eyes once he hits WrestleMania because, Snake Eyes, we're doing this at Caesar's Palace in Vegas, so casino references.
Right.
Tatanka does get miss an elbow drop, so Phil Apollo takes over just for a brief moment. And Tatanka gets hyped up, retakes control. He gets the Samoan drop and the win.
2 minutes, 43 seconds.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Like I said, a lot of these guys were trying to give them momentum as they go towards WrestleMania.
Yeah, just an average match.
Yeah. So we go back to the WrestleMania Control Center with Mean Gene, who has given us basically everything we already know about WrestleMania, all the matches we know. There's one more that I know of they have not announced yet. They allude to it later, but there's one match left that they haven't announced yet.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the WrestleMania Control Center is almost everything we already know. And then Rick Martel comes back a second time to do the whole take the ring card from the ring girl, dismisses her and goes about his thing.
Right.
And we go into Papa Shango, WWF Hall of Famer. Most people are going to recognize him as either Kama, the Supreme Fighting Machine, or the Godfather.
Ah.
And it's the God. Everybody loves the Godfather, but this is what I remember him for first because this is his first thing. Uh-huh. Basically, it was based off Baron Samedi from the James Bond movie Live and Let Die, which is where they get the idea, where they got the whole idea for the gimmick and the voodoo and the face paint and everything.
Gotcha.
He's getting towards the tail end of the run of Papa Shango. He's huge. If you notice, this man is absolutely huge. He's about 6'6", 6'8". Like, he's huge. He's well over 6'5". I'm gonna say he's at least 6'6". And he's just absolutely just brutalizing the hell out of poor Mike Edwards.
Yeah, this was all Shango. Edwards literally did not do anything in this match.
Yeah, and there was a couple of times Papa Shango hits a back suplex, but lifts the guy's head up to break the count. Does it twice.
Mm-hmm.
Brutalizes him again. He lands a reverse shoulder breaker that just looks nasty, and he gets the win on this.
Yeah, that was 2 minutes and 33 seconds of a mugging.
Yeah, this was a mugging. And then we go right into our next match. Bob Backlund, who is making his comeback at the right. Remember how a lot of times everybody's like, oh, all these wrestlers are old. You're going to the nursing home, whatever.
Right.
Bob Backlund is making his comeback here in 1993 at the ripe old age of 44.
44.
44. To put that in perspective, I just turned 40 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's making his comeback at 44.
Right.
AJ Styles, I think, right now is 42, 43. So this was always weird. Oh, you're old. You're 40. And you're like, well, shit, Jericho's older than that right now.
Right.
And even funnier, we talking about my birthday was just a couple of weeks ago. Bob Backlund was actually WWF champion when I was born.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because Hulk Hogan didn't win until 84. WrestleMania wasn't until 85.
Uh-huh.
And this is what they allude to, that Bob Backlund is looking forward to WrestleMania. He's never been a part of WrestleMania. So this is we're alluding to, this is going to be the last match they announced for WrestleMania is, Bob Backlund having a match.
Gotcha.
And he's going up against a gentleman named Tony DeMoro, who actually obviously has the size and you would assume power advantage, but Backlund was very technical. I believe he had collegiate wrestling experience.
Yeah,
and it shows. Like, he uses the technical skills. You can tell he was very technically sound.
Yeah, there's a lot of chain wrestling in this match, and it's great.
Oh, yeah. I was excited. That's what Bob Backlund did.
Right.
And DeMoro was able to get a few shots in, but Backlund landed this really nice double-arm suplex that I thought was going to get the win. But it goes back and forth a little bit more, and then Bob Backlund gets this really cool-looking cradle pin for the win.
Yeah, and that was 3 minutes 52.
Yeah, this is basically just Backlund wrestling circles around poor Mr. DeMoro. It was okay. Like I said, you throw some technical or chain wrestling in a match, and it's good.
Right.
I have no complaints. So we have Rob Bartlett backstage with Rick Martel, who makes digs at Bartlett, and any digs against Bartlett's okay with me.
Agreed.
We've established that we're not a fan of his work, at least in wrestling. I've not seen his radio work or anything else, so I can't attest, but
right.
From what we've seen here, we're not a fan.
Not at all.
Basically, this is just Martel promoting his match with Perfect. This coming up next, the model Rick Martel, who I would like to know why the hell he's not in the WWE Hall of Fame yet. He's on the short list of why the hell not.
Gotcha.
Like, if you watch any of his stuff from the late, from the 80s and even up to this point, why the hell not? Like, this is, honestly, he's on my short list, so WTF.
Yeah, I'm sure as we go on, I'll wind up agreeing with you, because you know your stuff.
This is towards the end of his WWF run, but if you look back at his Strike Force and Can-Am Connection tag team stuff, his stuff in the AWA, even if you can find some of his Canadian stuff when he wrestled in Canada, like, this is, like, why the hell is he not in the Hall of Fame yet?
I gotcha.
Like, will he headline a Hall of Fame class? Probably not. No, I wouldn't say so. But is he worthy to go in on his own and have, like, his own, as opposed to the Legacy Wing? 100%.
Gotcha.
You can put him anywhere other than the headliner in a Hall of Fame class, and I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going up against somebody who's already in the Hall of Fame, rightfully so, Mr. Perfect, who we've established I'm a fan of and watched a lot of his stuff when I was training.
Gotcha.
And this started up just exactly how I was expected. These guys can go.
Yeah, just going hard.
We expected it. We got what we expected. But obviously, Martel playing the heel in this, he's going to get the couple cheap shots. Nice solid knee that caught Mr. Perfect right in the face as he ran into the corner.
Mm-hmm. That was painful.
Yeah, that looked good. That looked pretty snug. And great counter. Like, Mr. Perfect looked like Rick Martel was going for an O'Connor roll. And Perfect, instead of latching onto the top rope, latched onto the middle and just tossed Martel out, which I thought was a nice counter.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bartlett tries to do the Elvis thing, and he goes, "Oh, no, it's starting to come back, baby." And Vince is like, "Yeah, no, it's not." Vince shut that shit down.
Yeah, thank God.
Vince is like, "Yeah, it's starting to come back," and Vince is like, "Yeah, no, it's not." Like, I don't know why Bartlett was trying to make himself the star.
Yeah, thank God it didn't work.
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, no, look at me. I'm acting a fool on TV." Vince is like, "Yeah, no, that's not happening. That's not what's going on. That's not really happening."
Mm-hmm.
This is what happens as they go to commercial, thankfully. I don't know why he was trying to do that. It was horrible listening to it all of last week.
Yeah, that was the worst part of last week for sure.
Yeah, like I said, I think there was like the middle of April, so we got roughly about a few more shows. I think it's 1 or 2 weeks after WrestleMania is his last show.
I believe you said April 19th or so?
Something like that. And then he never comes back. Not even for one-offs or anything, he never comes back. We got about 5 or 6 weeks left, so
right.
We can suck it up. So Martel with a gorgeous gut-wrench suplex as we come back from the commercial.
Mm-hmm. They're trading blows back and forth for a while.
Martel goes for a slingshot splash, but then Perfect gets his knees up.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mr. Perfect is getting dead serious about his comeback because he starts dropping the strap on his singlet.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what that means when someone drops a singlet, you're like, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
Yeah, they're getting real serious.
Yeah, like Jerry Lawler did that, when Kurt Angle ever dropped the straps, you knew how Kevin Hart used to say, it's about to go down. Yeah, that was always the uh-oh, the strap's too much. I need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And they cut away, he starts to make his comeback, strap comes down, they cut away to the commercial, match is over, happens during the commercial. Like, I don't remember if this was one of the live or the taped episodes, so I couldn't tell you what the deal was, but yeah, match is over when we come back.
Yeah, they do show the replay. Mr. Perfect hit the perfect plex off a rope bounce.
Yeah, which, once again, he's the reason I did a fisherman suplex in training. That was why I was trying to have a nasty fisherman suplex, 100% because of this man.
All right, the time on that match from the start to the second commercial break was 7 minutes 34.
Yeah, which I liked it. It gave me what I wanted.
Yeah, it would, again, just a solid wrestling match.
Yeah, could we have given these guys 15, 20, maybe even 25 minutes? 100%.
You don't always have time for that, though.
No, like I said, but like up until, I want to say 97, 98, Raw was only an hour. But what I got, I was happy with. 100%
Gotcha.
easy, my match of the night, not a question. Yeah, so, and then what happened? Mr. Perfect leaves. He comes back with the ring girls that Martel had chastised earlier to bring him out into the ring. They do their little hoopla. Vince announces that we're going to see in action next week. We're going to see both Kamala and Razor Ramon. And then we've announced the match between Typhoon and Bam Bam Bigelow, which will be exciting to see.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Yeah, and then this was a lot of things like I'm sure you've noticed this by now with like a lot of shows back then, especially before like Raw, how they changed everything. How you had your All-Star Wrestling, Wrestling Challenge, all the WCW shows. The majority of the shows were squash matches.
Yeah, I have picked up on that.
And then one or two matches would be between. You're not going to see. Very rarely would you ever see your main eventers on television. If you wanted to see your main eventers, you needed to go to a house show, or pay for the pay-per-view. Very rarely would you ever see. You would never see Hulk Hogan wrestle on TV, hardly ever, a few times a year.
Right.
So it was a big deal when Hulk Hogan was like, Hulk Hogan versus Dino Bravo next week. And I'd get excited because I get to see Hulk Hogan wrestle. But you would get something like, yeah, we're going to have these guys, and then, our match of the night or match of the week next week is going to be Typhoon versus Bam Bam Bigelow.
Mm-hmm.
You would get a couple, like, usually, like, the mid-card, higher mid-card guys would wrestle each other. The names, quote-unquote, names would wrestle each other for that. And that was just how things went up until, for at least the first few years of Raw. Like, that's only been going, that only changed not too long ago, within the last couple decades.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're going to go right into WCW Saturday night, March 13th. And we're opening the show a little bit different. We got Jesse Ventura in the crowd on one end, Johnny B. Bad on the other, who pops out his Bad Blaster. That's what he called his confetti gun.
Oh, that's what that's called. Okay.
It's called the Bad Blaster. And that's how we start the show. And then Tony opens on commentary. We already have our first match in the ring. It is the Shane Douglas and Ricky Steamboat versus the Master Wrecker, who I tried to look all over. I have not been able to find who this guy was, or if this was somebody, a name under the mask. I could not find. I've yet to find it.
Mm-hmm.
I've looked everywhere. I need to still look because I'm curious. I don't know how much longer he's going to be on, but I would like to know who the Master Wrecker was.
Gotcha.
And Chick Donovan. And big news for this match. Steamboat and Douglas aren't the tag champs anymore.
Yeah, Austin and Pillman won them at some point.
Yeah, like this was, like I said, this was the main show, but we had other, your other Power Hours and your Pros and other stuff. You would have other shows, but this was always the big one.
Right.
And they dropped the belts to the Hollywood Blondes within about a week.
Yeah, because they were the tag champions when we did our last episode.
Well, they were tag champs when we first started, so they had them, I think they said, about 5 months or so.
Gotcha.
Which is a respectable run.
Respectable, for sure.
And then, so yeah, Shane Douglas is actually in trouble early for a little bit before he tags in Steamboat. You notice that, at least during the match, he favors the knee a little bit, and they said they worked on that knee during the match for the title change.
Right.
And we saw in prior that the Hollywood Blondes were damaging that knee for a while anyways.
Right.
The Wrecker does tag in, but Steamboat keeps control, and Douglas comes back in. He was actually able to use a little bit of amateur to take down Wrecker, Lock, and a Boston Crab. Steamboat tags in. Now, their slingshot splash worked. The one Rick Martel had didn't. This one did. The Wrecker gets a shot in. He tags in Donovan, but little brawl happens. Douglas gets press slammed by Steamboat onto the Master Wrecker, and the good guys win.
Yep, that's 8 minutes and 9 seconds, and that was a very good start to this show.
It was. We were surprised that they gave Wrecker and Donovan that much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised it went as long as it did.
Yeah, there was also a commentary joke that I liked. Jesse said, I heard parts unknown is between Nebraska and Wyoming. And I like that just because there's nothing there.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the funny part. I also heard one during, like the Attitude Era that parts unknown is outside Dudleyville, where that's where the Dudley Boys were supposed to be.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, parts unknown's outside Dudleyville.
I gotcha.
So, and then we go into our next match. Vinny Vegas versus Danny Deese. Obviously, Vinny Vegas is not going to waste any time using his power moves. He does this great move, which is kind of like a standing gut wrench suplex, but he just gets him off the gut wrench and just stands there as he drops him. Hits that signature Kevin Nash side slam as well. Snake Eyes, match is over.
Yeah, that was just 2 minutes and 18 seconds. It's not a whole lot happening. Just Vegas dominant the entire time.
Absolutely. We come back from commercial with Jesse and Tony talking about the main event tonight. Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff and Dustin Rhodes for the United States title. Plus, this is a big deal. We haven't seen him since we've started the podcast. He has a in-studio interview with Rick Rude, who's coming back from his injury.
Right.
The former U.S. champion. I'm excited. I was always a fan of Rick Rude. Good stuff. You've yet to see Rick Rude.
Yeah, this is my introduction to him.
He can go. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing his stuff.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Next match, Johnny Gunn versus Barry Windham, who, there was a good back and forth between the two at the beginning of this.
Yeah, they were both very tentative to start. Like, they weren't sure. They didn't know what they wanted to do yet.
Yeah, trying to feel each other out, see what's going on. A lot of times you could, you don't want to just jump right in sometimes. You don't want to just keep going. Right. And I'm surprised that Johnny Gunn was in control there for a couple of moments before Windham takes him back.
Yeah, Gunn gave a good account of himself in this match, for sure.
Yeah, and then Jesse, while they're talking about this, I picked up on this. Jesse said that he's ready to head out to L.A. for a little bit to do a film with Sylvester Stallone, which I already know what movie this is.
I do not.
Demolition Man, which I absolutely adore that movie.
I know the name, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's basically Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes is in it. He plays the bad guy. Sandra Bullock's in it, who this and Speed is why I have a crush on Sandra Bullock to this day, who has aged incredibly well. She's absolutely beautiful.
I got you.
I actually had pictures of her cut out from old GeoCities websites. I copied off in the computer lab at high school and put in my locker.
Oh God, GeoCities. That's a flashback.
Or Angel Fire.
I remember that one too.
Mm-hmm. I cut out pictures from movies that she did and put them in my locker.
Wow.
I love me some Sandra Bullock to this day. But the movie's great. That's a fun movie to watch just for funsies. It's a for funsies movie.
A popcorn flick.
Oh, 100%. Turn your brain off, popcorn flick. It's an early 90s Sylvester Stallone action movie. Need I go on?
No, you really don't.
There you go. Boggle? What's my boggle? Watch it, you'll get it.
Okay.
So basically, we go back into this. Like, I could go off on a tangent on Demolition Man, which, after our tangent last week, we're going to try to cut down on those.
Yeah.
That was your fault, too.
I know.
But would it be the DNA podcast without a tangent at least once?
Absolutely not.
There you go. But anyways, Barry Windham gets a back suplex for a 2 count, and he's just full on pure smash mouth classic Barry Windham. This is what Barry Windham did. You notice this, and I always noticed as a kid. That's what Barry Windham did. He'd rather just punch you in the mouth.
Right.
He's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. He went into the Hall of Fame as a member of the Four Horsemen. Gunn actually mounts a comeback and gets a nice power slam, or something I always got amused how Jesse Ventura called him, a power body slam. That's what he always called him.
Huh.
He called him. That's when he always Jesse's like, yeah, he hits it with a power body slam, and I was like, power slam, but he always added the body part to it, which was
right.
Instead of a body slam, it's a power body slam.
Gotcha.
It's just a Jesse Ventura thing I always picked up on. And so we get towards the end of the match. Gunn goes to fly at Barry Windham, who ducks, and Gunn just throttles himself over the top rope.
Yeah, that looked painful.
Yeah, Windham hits the implant DDT, and match is over.
6 minutes, 47 seconds, and I really liked that one.
Yeah, it was a good match. This might honestly be close to my match. I think that might be actually my match of the night going through here. Well, until we get to the main event. But as of right now, my match of the night is Barry Windham versus Johnny Gunn. Tony Schiavone's ringside with Barry Windham. He says one question. He asks Barry Windham about Flair. Barry Windham looks pissed off and just walks off.
Yeah, Windham is just not having any of this.
No. And we go to our next match, which we got Pat Rose and J.D. Wolf going against a tag team you and I have become big fans of over the last several months.
Oh, yes.
2 Colt Scorpio and Marcus Bagwell. This might be our first favorite tag team of the podcast.
I think I'm going to agree with you on that one.
Absolutely huge fans of these guys.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. And obviously, the Scorpio's got the speed. He's using the quick tags to throw J.D. Wolf off his game before he tags in Rose. The faces were in control for a good 90% of the match.
And yeah, there was a point where Scorpio and Bagwell, they did a double leaping shoulder tackle. They both nearly went horizontal on that.
Oh, yeah. But this was 95, 96% good guys.
Agreed.
And they go back and forth, like the heels do get a little bit in. And then Pat Rose actually calls out 2 Colt Scorpio, and who answers the call and just spin kicks him in the face. I was like, oh, you want me? You want to call me? You want to call me? Okay, kick in the face.
Ouch.
I love that. A little bit longer, Wolf gets back in, but Bagwell hits his fisherman suplex, or they call it the cradle suplex. Good guys win.
5 minutes, 21 of a really good match.
Oh, yeah. But like I said, I think we've both become huge fans of this tag team over the last several months.
Absolutely.
Honestly, I wish these guys would have tagged for a while together, but, c'est la vie, I guess.
Yeah.
And then we go backstage with Larry Zbyszko and Missy Hyatt, who's talking about how she's still trying to talk to Ric Flair. And I'm really starting to sour on this whole Missy Hyatt thing. Oh, I want to talk to Rick. I want to talk to Rick. Oh, Larry, if you help me out, maybe you can show me why you're the living legend. I'm just like, oh God.
Yeah, it's getting to be a bit much at this point.
Yeah, this is starting to, every time I see her on the screen and she's whining, I need to see Ric Flair. I'm just like, it's like the scene from The Simpsons where Sideshow Bob steps on the rakes.
Right.
And even you know what I'm talking about. This is one of the classic scenes of The Simpsons. Sideshow Bob steps on the rake and he's like, thunk. He turns around again, thunk.
Yeah, I know that scene. I don't remember what episode it's from, but I do know it.
Yeah, even you know that scene. It's a classic scene. That's how I feel every time she starts doing this. I'm like, this has been going on since what? Super Brawl? Before Super Brawl?
Yeah.
So we're closing in on at least almost a month, if not more.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, I want to see it. It's like, I want my money and I want it now. It's my money and I want it now. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I remember those commercials.
Oh, they're still going on.
I haven't watched broadcast TV in so long.
But that's what it feels like. She's like, I want this. She's like Veruca Salt. Daddy, I want one of the squirrels. Daddy, give me one of the little orange men. Daddy.
Oh, God, I can't unsee it now.
She's Veruca Salt from Willy Wonka. Daddy, I want the man in the suit. Daddy, give me what I want, Daddy. By the way, there's only one Willy Wonka movie.
Agreed.
Well, they are doing an origin story.
What?
I'll give it a shot. It's supposed to be the origins of how he finds the Oompa Loompas and how he becomes Willy Wonka. I'll give it a shot. But as of right now...
I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah. Nothing against Johnny Depp. I love Johnny Depp in movies. I also grew up on 21 Jump Street. His Willy Wonka was hot garbage.
I haven't seen that one. I've just seen the old one.
Well, it's because the other one doesn't exist.
So Johnny Depp acted in a non-existent movie?
Yeah, exactly. Basically, he acted in John Cena the movie. Where's it at? It's invisible.
Okay, I'll buy that.
There you go. Okay, tangent aside. Once again, DNA tangents, you gotta have them. We're gonna go into our next match before we go off on another tangent. British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. Big fan of him since I was a kid. I love the British Bulldogs. I also loved Matilda. They used to come out with the Bulldog, named Matilda, when they were a tag team. Tony Vincent. Decent looking gentleman. Looks like he's got some power, but he just can't move the Bulldog off his feet.
Yeah, he's trying his guts out to just do anything to Davey Boy, and he just can't get it going.
Nope. And then it becomes all Bulldog. He gets that patented trademark British Bulldog hanging vertical suplex that he does so well. And then a few moments later, he gets the running power slam for the win.
Yeah, that was a 2-minute, 34-second enhancement match and not a whole bunch more.
No. And then Tony's ringside with the Bulldog. Davey Boy is still calling out Vader. He wants that title shot. So we see what happens. We come back for commercial, and out comes the former United States champion and also Hall of Famer, Ravishing Rick Rude. He says he should still be U.S. champ. He's saying, one thing he did mention that I picked up, he's like, if Dustin Rhodes comes in, groveling, on his knees, begging to take the title, he's like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to climb the mat. I want you to make sure you see me coming.
Right.
Surprisingly face, which he's not going to turn face, but it was surprisingly, I'm going to work hard and I'm going to earn it. He's like, all right.
Yeah, he calls out Paul Orndorff as well.
Yeah, because it's like, it doesn't matter who wins. These guys are lucky. If I didn't drop the title, neither one of these guys would be in the ring tonight for this. So, he's just like, he's coming for the U.S. title is basically what he's saying.
Right.
And then he says he's going to be in action next week, which I'm excited to see. We go into our next tag team match, Tex Slazenger and Shanghai Pierce versus Bobby Baker and Scott McKeefer. Surprisingly, this happened. Slazenger and Pierce jumped the other team at the bell. They beat him a little bit. Tex Slazenger hits a reverse DDT for the win.
Yeah, that was only 78 seconds.
Yeah. But there was a reason that match was so short. Because Slazenger and Pierce are still in the ring with the mic. They call out the Colt twins. Thing 1 and Thing 2.
Uh-huh.
That's what they remind me of, Thing 1 and Thing 2 from The Cat in the Hat.
Right.
And the Colt twins come out. They get another 5-minute match. It's Tex Slazenger and Shanghai Pierce versus the Colt twins, who quickly back body drop the bad guys and cause them to powder out. And I like how Jesse's like, oh, well, the Colt twins are having an advantage because the other guys just wrestled a match. I'm like, they won in like a minute, and they did like 4 moves. They're fine. Yeah. But, Jesse Ventura always rooted for the bad guys. Always had, he was always in the bad guys' corner.
Right.
This was classic Jesse Ventura. I'd love Jesse on color. We've established this. Cole won, I guess. Cross body block, arm drag, he's in control before Slazenger is able to land some stomps and a nice looking clothesline. And then all 4 guys are in the ring. They double team Slazenger and Pierce. They land a double drop kick. Match is over. Colt twins win again.
Yeah, I didn't hear a first bell, but it had to have been less than 5 minutes long.
Yeah, so it was something. Like,
yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm not a fan of the Colt twins. Not a fan.
What is it you don't care for? Can you put it into words?
Yeah, it's just like, I get you want to do the basic stuff, but there's nothing other than the high top mullets that make them stand out. It's just like, they're doing, after like this is the 3rd week we're doing this Colt twins story. They're like, they haven't done anything that's like, oh, cool or awesome chemistry. Like we said, one of our favorite tag teams of this moment right now is Two Cold Scorpio and Marcus Bagwell. They're always doing new stuff every week.
Okay, and then with the Colt, it's just the exact same thing every time.
Yeah, like, you don't have to be flashy. You don't have to, we're coming out dancing. But it's just like, okay, like, everything that they've done up until this point, I did in training.
Gotcha.
Every single move that they have done so far in these last 3 weeks, I did while I was still training. You got the back body drop, cross body, arm drag, drop kick. That's all they've done. Like, I get you want to do basics. Like, we'll get into the basics when we get into the main event. But they're just doing, like, the same basic, the same few, the first handful of moves I learned.
They're running through a script. Well, more of a script than you would normally have.
No, not even that. It's just, how they say all steak, no sizzle, or all sizzle, no steak.
Okay.
They have no steak or sizzle.
Gotcha.
There's nothing there. And I'm like, oh, God, they're... And, when we see him again, I have imagined they're going to do the exact same stuff.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? That's why I'm not a fan.
I gotcha.
So anyways, after the match, the Wrecking Crew come out to try to attack him, but the twins escape. They get out of the way. So we go to the next match. Max Payne versus TC Carter. And speaking of pay-per-views, Tony Schiavone mentions the next pay-per-view is in May for Slamboree, and I think it was the first Slamboree. And they mentioned there's going to be a lot of the legends from past years and past decades will be there, and some of them will be wrestling. So basically, this is just a quick match. Max Payne got the painkiller for the win.
Yep, 2 minutes and 1 second of just eh.
Yeah, nothing happened. So speaking of we're back in the quote-unquote locker room with Larry, who's there with Missy, and she's just whining more. And she's like, like, that's all it was. And then the Barbarian comes out to do his thing. And then once the Barbarian comes out, Flair's security detail comes out. What the fuck?
I have no idea.
What? I wrote down in my notes. Okay, that happened.
It stumped you like it stumped me, huh?
Monty Python's not that absurd. That was like some absurdity. I'm speechless, folks. So anyways, we'll go to something better. The man that scared the shit out of me as a child. The man, the myth, the legend, the Hall of Famer. Big Van Vader going up against poor Dave Hart.
And yeah, again, Dave Hart is just trying his heart out, and he can't get anything
I hate
going.
you. I hate you so bad right now.
Good for you. Excuse me while I don't care.
Yeah, that you didn't have heart or soul on that one. All right, anyways. Poor Dave. Trying to stick and move, Vader just runs right through him and then literally beats him around the ring. He beats him in the ring, throws him outside, beats him on the outside of the ring, hits the Thunderfire Powerbomb, match is over, poor guy.
2 minutes, 46 seconds.
I loved it because I'm a huge fan of Big Van Vader, so...
Right.
You put Vader on the screen, I'm happy. I don't know how you feel about Vader. I'm a big fan.
I like what I've seen from him, let me say that.
Yeah. Like I said, I have 35, if not more, years of experience watching wrestling. You have like 5.
About 8 now.
Okay, about 8. But I'm just saying, you've been watching it for less than 10 years, so a lot of these guys you're experiencing for the first time, so...
Exactly.
Which is fine. That's a good thing about this show. Then we get into, Jesse had mentioned earlier in the show that he had a plan. He had a setup. His setup, the Bruise Brothers, Ronald and Donald, versus Brad Anderson and Terry Bronson. And for those in like the TNA and the latter half of WCW towards the very end are going to know this is Ron and Don, this is the Harris twin.
Okay.
For a long time they would come out, they were the Jacob and Eli Blue in like 95 in WWF where they had the beards and the long hair. This is the Harris twins.
Okay.
So apparently, okay, you're familiar with the Harris twins.
The name sounds familiar, but I can't really place where I might have seen them other than...
Just shave their heads. Yeah. Late WCW, they were early TNA. This is them.
Okay.
And they are legitimate twins, too. But basically, this is the whole, like, you know, the episode of Star Trek where Spock had a beard.
Yeah.
Evil Spock. Okay, now we have good twins and evil twins now, basically, is what it is. That's basically what it was. They're like, the Colt twins are twins. The Bruise Brothers are legitimate twins. This is like, you know, like, Where's Waldo, the cartoon? They had a guy, the evil Oddlaw, which was Waldo spelled backwards.
Right.
Same thing, the mirror universe. This was This match was
Yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of it. It was just kind of there.
Yeah, like, you know me, I love a good smash mouth brawl, punch you in the face, like Barry Windham earlier. I love me some smash mouth, just let the hosses fight type stuff. This did not do it for me.
Yeah, this was strictly average.
Yeah. C. It was a C.
Agreed, C.
But basically, the Bruise Brothers dominated the whole thing. They get a cool looking, like, double team slam for the win. I don't know what else to talk about this match. Nothing really happened.
Yeah, this was just 7 minutes and 50 seconds of meh.
And it felt longer than 7 minutes. So Jesse's at ringside with the Bruise Brothers. They call out the Colt twins, and that's it.
Yeah, a meh promo for a meh match.
Yeah, this was just... didn't need this either. So we go to commercial, we come back. Tony brings out Ric Flair and Arn Anderson. Obviously, that's going to wake up the crowd. Mm-hmm. The crowd loves Ric Flair. The crowd loves Arn Anderson. Arn says the old Arn, he said there's a death in the family. The old Arn Anderson's dead and buried, and we're bringing back the old Arn Anderson from the early 80s. And I'm like, yay. Give me the old Arn Anderson, yay.
I gotcha. And then Ric Flair calls out Eric Watts.
Yep, it says Arn Anderson also said he's coming out for any title holder. Arn Anderson's coming for him. Ric Flair said Eric Watts' time is coming to a close. And then when the time is right, 4 horsemen are coming back. And I'm just like, yay.
Right.
This hit me in the right spots. I'm happy for this. We're getting Ric Flair back. Arn Anderson's coming back. We're getting the 4 horsemen coming back. This is all... Yeah.
I gotcha.
Daddy happy. And then we go to the main event, and this is easily my favorite match of the night. The Barry Windham one was a close second. Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff versus the natural Dustin Rhodes for the U.S. title. And remember how I said when we did the 2 matches between Ricky Steamboat and Dustin Rhodes at the beginning, where if you got the basics down pat, that's all you need to do?
Uh-huh.
Exhibit C. This was the basics.
Yeah, and this was a very good match.
The basics is all you needed to do. They had the basic psychology down. They had the basic moves down. They didn't have to do anything flashy. And it was amazing. Paul Orndorff's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. Dustin Rhodes needs to be in the Hall of Fame sometime soon. Right. Or a Hall of Fame. But Paul Orndorff is in the Hall of Fame for a reason. And this proved it.
Yeah, they tore the house down here.
Oh, absolutely. And then Rick Rude comes out to join the commentary table. And then he also noticed something that I've preached, and I was taught this in wrestling school. When you cut a promo, that he's like, yeah, these guys suck or whatever. He's put over himself, and Dustin Rhodes and Paul Orndorff. He also put them over. Talking about how they're both great. They're great wrestlers. They're good stuff. Because we talked about this.
Yeah, we have.
If you do a promo and all you do is like, oh, you're garbage. I'm better than you. You're nothing. Da 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 da. And I beat you. I beat nobody.
Right.
But if you beat me, that makes me look horrible because then a nobody just beat me. And how good do I look?
Right. So you talk everybody up. So.
Yeah, you don't kiss their ass, but like Bobby Heenan was great at this, where it's like, oh, hey, I'm going up against you. Yeah, you may have this, and this. Well done. My guy's still going to beat you.
Right. So you talk them up, you build them up so that you look better when you beat them, and if you don't, you still look good because you gave them a fight.
Exactly. And Rick Rude did this at the commentary table. This is why he's one of the best.
Speaking of, there was something I noticed that there was a comment before the commercial break about. Well, while Dustin was working Orndorff's left arm, Jesse made a comment about not splitting the fingers. I don't know why that matters.
About what? I'm sorry?
Jesse made a comment, about don't split the fingers when you're in it, when you have an arm hold on.
I didn't catch that, so I honestly couldn't tell you. I'd have to go back and watch the match.
Right.
But, yeah, it comes back. Orndorff's been in control for a good amount of the match. He has Rhodes in a sleeper for several minutes. Rhodes is actually able to lock in one of his, but Orndorff drives him into the corner. Rhodes gets a little bit more of a comeback, gets a power slam and a dropkick for a 2. They start trading blows on the outside. The ref gets his eye poked, but Dustin gets disqualified for driving Orndorff face first into the ring post. So Paul Orndorff does win by disqualification, but no title change.
Yeah, that was 14 minutes, 50 seconds. Longest match of our episode and a damn good one.
Fantastic. Once again, this is when a good wrestling school preaches the basics. This is why. These guys didn't have to do anything flat. I love flashy stuff. We talked about it earlier with Scorpio and Bagwell.
Yes.
But this is how they preach basics. These guys did nothing out of the ordinary. And this was best match of both shows. We'll put it that way. Easy.
Now, not sure I'd call it best, but very, very good.
To me, okay, you know what? If this wasn't the best match, Perfect and Martel was the other one.
That I'll agree with.
But I'll have to give the nod to this, honestly.
Okay.
Because they got a little bit more to go. I think they got a little bit more. Like, Perfect and Martel wasn't rushed at all, but Orndorff and Rhodes got more time to tell the story.
Right. I'll agree with that.
So that's why my pick, and then before the show ends, Rude gets in the ring, takes off his suit, calls out Rhodes, get his title shot. So. And
right there is where broadcast time runs out.
Yep. Both shows were great. Once again, we're fully on the road to WrestleMania, so we're promoting that on Raw. We're now starting the slow climb to Slamboree for WCW. I've given my match of the show, which was Orndorff and Dustin Rhodes. What say you, sir? What was your favorite match of our show?
I think I'm going to have to give it to... Honestly, I think I'm going to give it to Money Inc. versus Virgil and Tito. I really liked that one.
All right, fair enough. So anyways, guys, we're going to add one more small thing to our new format. Hopefully you guys like this new one. To kind of keep the pop culture thing so you guys know what was hot in 93 and then 94, 95 as we go on. I'm going to give, because I'm the bigger movie fan, and as much as I'm a music fan, Bach is well more versed in music than I am.
Mm-hmm. We're
going to give you the top 5 movies that came out that week in 93, and he's going to give you the top 5 Billboard 100. We're going from 5 to 1. Maybe if something pops up, we can give it like a little tiny blurb. Just so we can keep the pop culture going. We want to give you guys what we promised on episode. So we're going to give the top 5 movies domestically. We're just doing domestic from March 5th, the week of March 5th to 11th, 93. Number 5, Mad Dog and Glory came in with $4.8 million. This was a movie with Robert De Niro and Bill Murray. I've not seen this. It was only released domestically and only made $11 million. So, it was... I can't say anything about it. I've never seen it. So, number 4 so Mad Dog and Glory had $4.828 million. Coming in at number 4 with $4.854 million, Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey.
I remember that movie. I actually really liked that.
Yet to see. It's one movie I've not seen. That was actually week 5 in the box office. It's 5th week in the box office at number 4. Mad Dog and Glory was its opening weekend. Number 3 at 15 weeks at the box office with a gross of $5.7 million. The Crying Game.
Don't know that one.
Don't know. I know of it, and I know there was a big twist that happens in it. I've not seen it, but I'm familiar with it. Coming in at number 2 with 4 weeks at the box office, $6.7 million, a movie you and I are very familiar with in doing this show, Groundhog Day.
Ah, yes, that was a very fun movie.
We're both big fans of that movie, and we did it on one of our earlier episodes. And coming in number 1 on its second week with $9.8 million, probably one of my favorite Michael Douglas movies, Falling Down. This is a fantastic movie. Anybody that's seen it, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Probably is up there with one of my favorite Michael Douglas movies in general. Go see it if you guys get a chance. It's not hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
I recommend it. So, sir, Mr. Music Man, what was high on billboards? 5-1.
Alrighty, we are counting the chart week of March 6th. Number 5 was Nothing But a G-Thang by Dr. Dre.
Love that song.
I have not heard that song. This was before I really started listening to music.
Yeah, I'm the whole East Coast, West Coast rap thing. I'm right here, West Coast all the way.
And this is its 6th week on the chart.
Okay.
Number 4 is Informer by One Hit Wonder Snow, 9th week on the chart.
This is great. Everybody knows this song. And even better, I played Far Cry 6, and I played it on my Twitch channel, latter end of last year. And it takes place in Cuba, not Cuba. Wink, nudge, wink, wink, wink.
Mm-hmm.
Not Cuba. One of the songs on the radio you can listen to is a Spanish language cover of Informer, and it's funny to listen to that song in Spanish.
Yeah, I do know a little bit about Informer from when Todd in the Shadows did his One Hit Wonderland episode on that.
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice posed like he was a gangster. Snow actually did come up in that kind of environment.
Yeah. But it's just, everybody knows, Lucky Licky Boom Boom Down.
Yeah, that's what everybody recognizes from that song.
I know nothing else.
Number 3 was Duran Duran with Ordinary World, 9th week on the chart.
Yeah, I had to look this one up. I recognized it by the chorus.
The Duran Duran version was not my first exposure to this. There was a really beautiful cover by Aurora featuring Naomi Coleman that I knew of from Dance Dance Revolution.
Okay. But yeah, I know Duran Duran, Hungry Like the Wolf, Rio, love Duran Duran. I had to listen to this song in prepping for today, and I was like, oh, the chorus. Oh, okay, I know this song then.
Yeah.
I know the chorus more than anything else.
Then number 2 was Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You, 17th week on the charts.
Yeah, would you consider this the most successful cover song of all time?
I didn't know it was a cover.
It's a cover. Dolly Parton did the original version.
Really? I did not realize that.
Enough that Dolly Parton is actually considered one of the writers on the song, so she got royalties for this song.
Interesting.
And she, how Dolly Parton loves to give all her money back to help people, and she helped fund one of the coronavirus vaccines.
Right.
And she does a thing, apparently her Dollywood amusement park, she's like, anybody that works there, basically pays for their college. She does this thing where she set up a program where you can sign up for it, and your child gets a free book every month until they turn 5.
Yeah, I knew she was a philanthropist. I didn't know the extent of what she did.
Yeah, and then the reason I bring that up, other than Dolly Parton did the original, she made something like $4 million off of this song, just off of the Whitney Houston version. And I believe, if I read it right, she gave it to one of the African-American neighborhoods in Houston. She donated it for them to do improvements and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Class act.
Yeah, I would have to honestly consider this one of the greatest cover songs of all time. Actually, by the way, never seen The Bodyguard, the movie that she did this for.
I also have not seen it.
Never seen it. But yeah, so we all know the song. Everybody belts the song out.
And the number one for this week was Peebo Bryson and Regina Belle with A Whole New World, 12th week on the charts.
From what movie, sir?
It's from Aladdin. Yeah, I don't think this was the version that was in Aladdin. I know Peebo Bryson did a lot of covers of Disney songs specifically for radio. Yeah, I don't know if this was the version that was in Aladdin.
Well, we know the song. We know the movie. Not my top, people surprised, not my top 3 Disney movies. Yeah,
the Disney Renaissance had some amazing movies, but I don't think I'd say it's in my top 3 either.
Number 1 is, for me personally, Beauty and the Beast to this day.
Beauty and the Beast is amazing.
Number 2 for me is Lion King.
Also a good choice.
And number 3 is The Little Mermaid.
All good choices. I haven't watched any of the Renaissance movies recently enough that I would feel comfortable categorizing them.
Okay. But Aladdin, don't get me wrong, Aladdin's fantastic.
It is, yeah. They're all great. I just don't remember any of them well enough to want to rank them.
If only there was a streaming service that we could watch these easily.
I know, that would be incredible.
It would be, I guess you would call it a plus if we had something like this.
That would be an amazing plus.
A Disney plus, if you will, that I totally didn't get to watch comic book movies. In Darkwing Duck. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, please, thank you once again. Thank you very much to everybody that's stuck with us through this hiatus. Hopefully this format goes well for us. Like I said, obviously, please let us know on social medias, constructive, don't be a dick. Constructively, likes and dislikes. And then once again, if you have any horror recommendations for Bakht, any anime recommendations for myself, hit us up on our social medias. You can find the podcast on Twitter at D and A Podcast 1. You can find us on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, and then for you indie podcast fans, please seek us out on Good Pods. I highly recommend that. I found some good ones. As a matter of fact, if I can recommend a podcast I got off of Good Pods, look up Unchefed. It's basically a podcast by 2 former chefs, but they do like food topics, but like on a historical and political twist.
Interesting.
Oh yeah. They did one, they interviewed somebody that talked about like indigenous people and about, like their contributions to food and stuff, but then they did a funny one where it's like, here's a list. Do you consider these fast food chains, would you consider that their customer base leans liberal or conservative?
Interesting.
And it was hilarious. And they also had one where they talked about hipsters and mason jars. Yeah, fantastic show. I'm actually almost caught up, so they need to come out with new ones. Hurry up. I'm almost caught up on all of them. But yeah, Good Pods. If you're an indie podcaster, we're on there. Give us the 5 stars, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube as well. We do every episode new on YouTube on Fridays.
And all the engagement you give us is what tells our hosters that we're worth keeping.
Yes. And then all the podcast sites will be up usually on Saturdays. Myself, I am on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. Trying to get my Instagram going again. It's deader than dead. TikTok, Xander Invictus.
And I'm on most of the same socials at Big Bakht.
So once again, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will see you next week on the DNA Podcast.
Take care.